What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to start working on the BRZ again. If you guys read the title, I have a steering angle kit that we're going to be starting to install today. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it today, but I'm going to try and get the most done that I can today, and we're going to see how far we can get. So just a couple days ago, I was at Wicked Big Meet with ISC Suspension. They asked the BRZ and I to come by their booth, hang out for the day, showcase, the BRZ with all their stuff that's on it. Actually, like a couple days before Wicked Big Meet, I actually finished painting the cage. So, a long time ago, if you watched, I think right when I got the car back from being caged, I said that I was gonna maybe post up a video of the cage, like painting the cage and stuff, but I was on such a time crunch I had only a couple days to get the cage painted before Wicked Big Meet. I just decided not to do a video of painting the cage. So right now I'll just show you real quick. So what I ended up doing is I painted the cage white, and the interior area in the back I also did white. So now the cage back there is nice gloss white. You can't really see much, but everything back there is white as well, and it came out really good. I really like the quality of it. I did just like a gray primer, because that's what I had here at the shop, and then I just bought some gloss white paint, and then this like a two-part clear coat, like aerosol can spray. So it has like the hardener stuff in it, so it comes out like a regular automotive clear coat, and it looks awesome. I really like the way it came out. I did like I painted the little cover things that I made for the rear speaker areas. I cleaned up the wiring just a little bit from like the sound system stuff that I have, and I think it came out pretty good. I like it. And then I threw the carpet back in, so you can't really see because it's kind of dark, but I threw all the carpet back in. I threw the headliner back on until like the cage. I cut it short over there. So basically, like the street class I want to eventually race in, it said B-pillar forward for carpet and headliner. So that's exactly what I did, so I'll be able to pass the tech. And also I got a nice box from ISC Suspension the other day at Wicked Big Meet. That's a new set of coilovers for a project that you guys will be seeing probably fairly soon. But yeah, coilovers for a future project. I already have the car, we just gotta have time to throw those coils in. Alright, and so like I said a while ago, I wanted to start drifting the BRZ since that I made the Impreza all-wheel drive again. And just a quick update on that Impreza. I got it wrapped, I got new wheels on it, I made it all, I made it actually look pretty nice. We went to the Yukon car show with it, so if you guys saw me post up on Instagram, or if you were actually there at Yukon and you saw it, it looked really good. It looked pretty good. But I ended up buying a new car, which actually those coilovers are going on, and I had to get rid of something. After buying that new car, I had 5 cars. I couldn't have that many, so I got rid of the Impreza, unfortunately. So someone up in Massachusetts now has it. Hopefully they're enjoying it. I did a lot of work. If you saw all the last videos of me doing all the body work and stuff like that, I put a lot of work and I put a lot of hours into that car, and I really did like it. But after the Yukon car show, which was in April, I didn't drive the car at all. It just sat in my garage at my house. So that was basically the first car that would have had to go in order to pick up this new car that I got. So unfortunately, Impreza's gone, but I've got a new car that's better that you'll see probably fairly soon. Probably once we start doing the coilovers on it. But let's get back to the BRZ. Like I said in previous videos, I want to start drifting the BRZ as well as, road course racing it. Right now it's full setup for just road course racing. I found this company, FDF Race Shop, up in Canada. They make a lot of steering angle kits for the 350Zs, the 240SX, a couple other cars, but they're basically known for just the 240 and the 350Z. They came out with a steering angle kit for the BRZ, FRS, GT86, and it was pretty affordable. So I decided to contact them. I ended up ordering a kit through them. It took a little while because the BRZ ones, they said that they don't sell too many of them, so they're built to order, which I was kind of alright with because at the time it was winter time when I ordered it. And yeah, so finally I have time to put it in. I don't have anything scheduled for the BRZ to go to for a couple weeks, if not more, so I have plenty of time. I've had this kit since like, I think beginning of March, I think is when I got the kit, and I've just been waiting ever since to throw this thing on, and I cannot wait to get some steering angle. I can't wait to get the wheels to poke out just a little bit more out of the fenders, and let's see how much angle I can actually get out of the car without rubbing. So let me just show you what is included with the kit, and we'll move on from there. I also apologize in advance if you can't really, if it's too hard for to hear what I'm saying, because I got literally 3 fans blowing at me right now. I've got that one, and a small one on my toolbox over there. So I also have the door closed because it's actually hotter outside than it is in the shop. But so this is what's included with the kit. So FDF has, I think, 3 different versions of the kit that you can get. So, or maybe there's only 2. I don't remember. It's like I said, it's been a while since I ordered this stuff. But so there was like the basic kit, and I know there was the full kit. I ended up ordering the full kit because it was only like $100 or $200 more than just the basic kit. So I said, screw it, might as well get the best that they have. So basically, it comes with their knuckles that are all, you know, made in-house, all welded together. Which apparently, I think they also said that these are actually lighter. This whole kit is actually lighter than what's factory, so the, you know, unsprung weight will actually decrease a little bit, which I think is actually pretty cool. But so full modified, full custom knuckles, modified for angle. It's fully adjustable for Ackerman. It comes with, where are the pieces? It comes with all of these to adjust how you want it, adjust the spacing. The full kit includes the subframe reinforcement plates, which this kit doesn't come with instructions, so I gotta try and figure out where those have to go. And the full kit also comes with their adjustable inner/outer tie rod setup. So instead of running a traditional inner tie rod and outer tie rod, they use this, which goes to where the steering rack goes to, and then it goes to this piece, which then attaches to the outer tie rod on the knuckle. So basically, like, if anything bends, it'll probably be this, and then you just replace these. And then you also get adjustability of, you know, how far the angle and stuff you need it to go. So this kit is like fully adjustable. Like, even like this is slotted, so you can get some, this one's kind of together, but so you can get it to go in and out. Everything is adjustable. Everything has adjustable heim joints. It seems to be a really nice kit. It also comes with the top hats that actually have to get spaced out, so I gotta cut a bigger hole in my strut tower in order to fit those. This is basically exactly like the WiseFab kit, except FDF has their special tie rod setup. But basically this is going to be sitting exactly like how the WiseFab kit does. And when I looked up like the WiseFab kit, it was like, I think it was like $3,000, maybe $3,500 for basically everything that seems like is in this kit also. This kit, no joke, like, was like, for converting it to US dollar, it was like $1,400 for this entire kit. So it's basically like everything seems to be exactly what a WiseFab kit would come with, except not the WiseFab price. So that's why I completely went with them. I talked to the dude over at FDF, and he seemed like an extremely nice guy, knew exactly what he was talking about, and I can't wait to try and get this thing on the car. So now these control arms, the lower control arms, they say, well, he says I could get up to 2 inches more like length out of them. So basically I can get the wheel to stick out of the fender, you know, get that full Ryan Turek, you know, stance in the front. But basically what it's going to come down to is I gotta see, I want to try and, obviously I want to get as much angle as I possibly can out of it, but I gotta make sure that the wheels don't hit anything while I'm trying to get the angle. So the more angle you want, especially out of the BRZ FRS, you need to poke the wheel out more, which is why that lower control arm is adjustable to try and, basically I'm gonna have to play around. It's gonna be a lot of adjusting of how far out the wheel has to be in order to get the most lock. I'm also toying with the idea of getting another set of wheels for the front that are like less wide, because these are 17 by 10.5s, and I'm afraid trying to get a 10.5 to get maximum lock is gonna be pretty impossible. So I want to try and find maybe like a 17 or an 18 by 9 and just use that, because I think a 10.5 is gonna be way too big. But for now, we're gonna use the 10.5 until I figure out, you know, wheel situation, and we'll just go from there after that. So right now we're just gonna set up the kit, set it up with these wheels on there now, and we're gonna see how it comes out. So usually whenever I film any of these videos for like installs or anything like that, I know what I'm doing, so it's easy for me to just go through and just you know, do the install and film at the same time. I've never installed a steering angle kit, especially nothing suspension wise that's this extensive. So obviously I can, you know, bolt it in, you know, take all the old stuff out, bolt this stuff in, no problem. It's the adjusting part that I feel is gonna be more intense, I guess I'll say. So this is going to be a learning experience for me, but it's going to be a learning experience for you guys too, and hopefully it actually helps you guys out, because I know if there was a video like this out there right now, I'd definitely be watching it before I start installing this. So I'm going to jack up the car. I think I might take the front splitter off of it too. We'll see. I think I might get the kit installed first and see how much steering lock I can get. And then if it starts contacting the splitter, I'll take the splitter off for now, because there's a drift event at the end of this month that I want to try and get the BRZ up to. ISC is kind of like pressuring me to try and get the car up there to test it out, especially with the angle kit on there. So they really want to see the car up there. I want to drift the car like badly. I really want to drift the car. I want to get this stuff on there first before we go up there. So we're gonna see how long this takes and how comprehensive this kit actually is to get it all to adjust right. So this angle kit literally replaces everything. So this front lower control arm, obviously the tie rod stuff, the knuckle itself, and then the top hats for this. So unfortunately I got to get rid of the nice gold ISC top hats in order to run this angle kit, but you know, sacrifices have to be made. So one other thing about the kit, I asked how it'll be with sway bars, and because obviously I still want to road course like track this thing, so I asked the owner of FDF how this kit would install with sway bars and, like, you know, end links, because you know everything's gonna be pushed outward a little bit, so I was worried that this angle would be too much. He said that what they do is that they don't run a front sway bar, but obviously I do. So I'm going to see how far out this thing actually gets in order to still use these white line end links, because I don't want to get rid of the sway bars. So I have to I guess I'm just gonna have to see how intense it is. Like, maybe if anything, when I go to drift events, I'll disconnect this upper one and I'll, like, you know, zip tie it off to the side or something, or maybe I'll disconnect from the lower one and upper one and just take it out completely, and then at that point I could get maximum angle either way. And then when I go to either just drive this out on the street or take it out on the track, I'll just throw the end link back in, and then obviously I won't get as much angle as I could. But when I'm out on track, I don't need a ton of steering angle, just only when I'm drifting I do. So end link is the only questionable thing that's gonna happen out of all this, but I gotta put everything together to see how it is. So first thing we gotta do, I gotta disconnect the sway bar, so I gotta unbolt it because we gotta get the coils out. So I gotta do that, gotta take the coil out, gotta take the brake caliper. I'm gonna see if I can get it to reach onto the splitter just to rest it there. Obviously rotor has to come off, I gotta take the wheel bearing off because everything has to get swapped over to the new knuckles. And at that point, once the knuckle is off, I'll get the lower control arm out. I gotta take the tie rod off, and just basically just start disassembling everything. So let's get started. Alright, so I got the brake caliper off. I have it just sitting on the splitter over there. The rotor's off now. I disconnected the speed sensor out of here, so luckily it's never been driven in the snow or salt or anything like that, so this luckily just came right out. I can try and disconnect this lower ball joint and get the two coilover bolts out, and then the hub will just come right off. Well, the knuckle will come right off, and then we'll move on to the next thing, which will probably just be taking the coilover out and then getting the lower control arm out. Alright, so I love that this car has low miles and it's never seen any like salt or anything, because all I had to do was just literally get my impact, and this nut for the sway bar just came right off, which usually the ball joint wants to spin, so you gotta get like vice grips on the back side of it, or you gotta use the Allen in here and then use a wrench and try and get it off. And I guess it really does help when you anti-seize things, because I forgot that I anti-seized the 219s for the bottom of the coilover, and they came right out. So thank God for that. Now we just got to undo this cotter pin right here, take this nut off, give this a couple whacks with the hammer just to separate the ball joint, and then the knuckle will come right off. And then we're just down to just getting the lower control arm off, and then I need to go up top to take the top hat bolts off, nuts off, sorry, so then I could just get the coilover out so we could swap over the other top hats. And then besides that, we just got to screw around with the tie rod. I got to figure out if I'm going to be able to get that inner tie rod off or not. I might have to wait for another day so I could grab the actual tool over at work to undo those, but we'll see. We'll see if I can get it without the specialty tool. So let's just get this knuckle off, we'll get the coilover out, and I'll meet up with you guys after that. Alright, so I got the knuckle and the coilover out. They're sitting on the ground over there. I wanted to try and start taking the lower control arm out. I was able to get the bolt out that goes right here. It's right there, and I got the nut off for this right here, but I totally forgot it was a nut with a stud. So in order to get that off, I need to take the splitter off, because it goes all the way down over there underneath the splitter, and it's a bolt, of course, that's all the way over there. So I need to take the splitter off so I can get underneath, so I can take the this gold ISC suspension control arm brace off, and then after I do that, the control arm itself will just slide down off of that stud, and then the control arm will come out, because right now it's loose. Like I can take it out and I can spin it around, I can do what I want, but it's stuck on that stud and on this control arm brace. So unfortunately the splitter has to come off. In order to do that, I gotta take the bumper off. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna move over to the other side and get the other side to the point at where I'm at now, and then I'll take the splitter off, and that way I'll be able to get both control arms out at the same time. So earlier in this video, when I was talking about these, I said that on the site, I think it said that these are lighter than the stock ones, when I don't have a scale here, but when I took these old ones off that are cast iron, they are significantly heavier than these. Now granted, that still has the hub in it, but even when I take the hub out, I'm pretty sure that's still heavier, because when I lifted that off the car and I brought it over here, you know, I figured out how heavy it was, and when I went to go lift up this was a lot lighter than that. So coilovers also, you'll see I have them at like basically max low without having to take one of these collars off. Max low, I gotta take the top hats off and swap them over to the new ones that are extended over there. But also what I noticed, well, what I think I noticed, is that these are also kind of like drop knuckles. So where the wheel bearing sits versus where the strut bolts are, it really seems like that this is higher up. Like you can't really go by like the length of this, because this has the Heims joint stuff at the bottom, so you can't really go off of like, oh, this looks a lot higher than that one, because there's nothing here at the bottom of it. But the distance away from the wheel bearing to that, this seems a lot closer. So I might actually have to raise the coilovers once I get everything installed, because I think this might actually raise everything up a little bit. But that's all once I get everything installed on the car, once I get the wheels back on it, and when I drop it down on the ground to see where the wheel actually sits. Or actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll compress the suspension so then it's still up in the air and I could still just try and do full lock on it. Okay, well luckily I designed the front bumper and the splitter to come off fairly easily, so it took me like 5 minutes to get it off. So bumper's off, splitter's off, all the rods are off too. So now I should be able to see, yeah, I can get to the bolts now for those subframe braces, so we'll be able to pull those out, and we'll finally be able to get the control arms out. And now just like that, both control arms are out. So now basically, literally everything is out now besides the inner and outer tie rod. So I think now what I'm going to do, since I have everything out and everything else hasn't really been that much of a fight yet, I'm going to try and pull the boot off of the, well, move the boot forward a little bit on the inner tie rod. And I'm going to see how difficult that's going to be to try and get off, because I have everything off right now, so if I can get the inner and outer tie rod off with everything else out of the way, then I might as well do it that way. So what I know, I've actually literally never removed inner tie rods before. So, and now with drifting, I think that's going to become a little bit more of a common thing for me. But so what I just need to do is I got to take the boot off, and then there's going to be like a weird kind of like knuckle type thing that has slots in it that usually there's a tie rod like specialty tool that goes over it, kind of like a socket, and you can get it from like out here. But I know of people using just like an adjustable wrench and getting on off that way, so I have an adjustable wrench here, so I might just have to get it from underneath, like on the other side of this, and get it from that side. So I'm just gonna have to pull the boot forward and see what it looks like, and then we're gonna have to go from there. Alright, so I was able to get the boot to move out of the way. So this is the little knuckle thing that I was talking about. This is that right there in like the picture. Hang on. So this right here is the, I guess I'll say the inner part of the inner tie rod. It threads onto kind of like the steering rack, like I'll call it like the steering rack rod, which is right there. So it has these like little groove areas. And I'm gonna see if I can get an adjustable wrench on there. Hopefully I can, and just break it free. And that way I could get literally everything off, and hopefully just about everything back on of all the new stuff that's over there. Alright, so the adjustable worked. So now I'm able just to unthread it. There we go. So now it came right off. So now that's where the FDF like adjustable inner area will go. So now I just gotta get the old clamp off that I kind of mangled, but get that off. The FDF kit doesn't really look like I'm kind of like able to use this dust boot, but I really want to. So before I throw everything all back together, I'm gonna take this boot off, and I really want to try and incorporate that back on, because I don't really want any dust and stuff to get onto that shaft, and plus it's all like greased up, so I definitely don't want any like dirt or debris getting like stuck to that thing, just screwing up the rack in general. So I'm gonna try and figure out how to get that boot to stay, like to work for it. If anything, if I have to like trim it back a little bit, we'll have to see. We'll have to see once I go to put everything back together. But it's off. So now I'm gonna go to the other side, do the same thing, and we can start putting this steering angle kit together and back in the car. Alright, so I got both the wheel bearings out. Luckily, low miles, like I said before, haven't driven in like snow or salt. The wheel bearings came right out. All I'm gonna do is just get a wire brush and just clean up the rust that's just around that ridge right there. But I was considering on maybe replacing them, just so then everything with the kit is brand new. But with how low of miles they have, and they're easy enough to replace anyway, so I'm just gonna run the older, the old ones that I have, and it should be fine. So I'm gonna throw the wheel bearings in here, and basically then after that we're gonna get ready with the lower control arms. We're gonna assemble those and get ready to put the lower control arms in the car. Alright, so I assembled the control arms. So I put all the Heims joints in their spots. So now this is the part when it starts to get a little tricky. This is when I'm kind of out of my realm of knowing really what to do. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the base measurements off of this. So I'll do like from here to here, I'll do here to here, and here to here, basically just the triangle, and I'll get all the measurements for that. And then what I'll do is maybe make it, I don't know, maybe what I'll do is I'll max it out first. So I'll do like the full 2 inches to have it poke as much as it possibly can, and then I'll just adjust it inward if I need to after that. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to measure all of those, and then basically I'll just make it 2 inches bigger, I think all the way around. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm not 100% sure. I know this one and this one will have to be extended because this is what goes to the knuckle. So in order to push the knuckle out more, those two have to be adjusted. And then after that, that one have to be adjusted to reach the front once that thing is pushed out all the way. So this is when it starts getting really tricky, I guess I'll say. And I guess the one negative that I have about this kit so far is that in order to adjust these, you have to unbolt it and spin, like actually spin this. There's no like center adjustment. Like this is just the locking nut on it. So there's no like center adjustment, so I can't just bolt this thing up and then adjust from there. Like I have to adjust it out of the car, put it back in the car, see if it works. If not, then take it back out, adjust it again. So it seems like that's the only like negative part so far about this kit. Alright, so that actually didn't seem to be as, well, not nearly as difficult as what I thought it was going to be. So basically what I just did is that I actually basically used the stock one as like a jig, basically. I basically used the stock one as a jig, and I kind of just lined up that one, and then lined up that one, and at the same time, I basically just extended this and extended that to reach like the length that I wanted. I made it 2 inches farther out, and then I just had to readjust this one to compensate for this one being pushed out. So that's basically how I want it, and it's basically maxed out as far as I like comfortably feel like taking the threads out, because lining this one up, there's probably a good, maybe a good inch of thread still in this one, and probably like a little bit more than an inch in this one. Same with this, there's about an inch left in this, so there's still enough in the body of the control arm itself, so I'm not afraid of it being stressed and like breaking. So that's basically as maxed out as I feel comfortable with. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the zip ties off of these, and then we're going to put it in the car, and we're going to see how it fits, and then if anything we're going to put the knuckle on as well. Okay, well, getting the lower control arm to this spot was a whole lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, and I'll show you why on the other side. But first, basically this right here, this stud that came down, was giving me a ton of problems. That this piece is machined, like see how this hole is small, this one's larger. This is supposed to fit up into the stud area right there. So see how it has like the hex on it, and it kind of tapers upwards a little bit. That, the bigger one, this one right here, they can't really see right now, that one is supposed to just fit right over that and go right up and bottom out at the top, but they don't do that. I needed to drill these bigger in order to get it to fit all the way up. Same with this side. On the inside of it, I had to drill a little bit larger. Luckily I had a step bit, like a step drill bit, that was actually big enough to do it. But now this goes up, it slides all the way up, and now it goes up there. The other side I installed first before even knowing that, so I had to, and then what I basically just thought, I was like, oh, maybe it's just a little bit of a tight fit, so what I'll do is I'll use the nut and I'll just tighten it so it compresses itself up to the top. Well, that didn't end up happening. It bottomed out, well, it got stuck way before it was at the top. So then I was like, okay, it's not gonna make it. Let me take it back out, and that's when I thought of the drilling idea. So then, in order to get this out, I obviously undid the nut. This control arm bracket wasn't there yet, and it was stuck. So I tried my dead blow right against the control arm to try and get it to come down. That didn't work. So what I ended up having to do was use my sledgehammer and hit against this until it finally broke itself free and it came out. Luckily nothing's damaged. Like, this is pretty beefy, and it didn't bend anything. It just, like, it messed up the powder coat just a little bit, but I'm all right with that. But so that was a pain in the butt. That was literally probably about an hour of me figuring that out and drilling it out, and now getting it finally to fit. So now the control arm is finally in. This one is tight down here. I left this one loose for now just because I still needed to screw around with the tie rod over there. And that's about it. So the control arm's in. I need to just, you know, everything is still loose for now, just till I get the final, like, everything finally on. So I think I'm gonna get the other control arm on, and I might have to call it a day because that took a lot longer than what I expected. So let me get the other control arm on, and I'll see what time it is after that. Well, I guess the second time always goes by faster because I just got that in a couple minutes. So this side I already pre-drilled everything on those stupid spacer pieces for the Heim joint. So now this side is basically all set too. It's basically ready for the knuckle. The only thing is that we're gonna have to do some. We're gonna have to use a hole saw for up here to cut an opening of this more to fit those extended top hats. I'll show you. Actually, you know what? I'll try and show you right now what I'm talking about. All right, so I only have 2 bolts just holding it, just so I can show you what I'm talking about. So just like the WiseFab kits, if you ever seen them for the BRZ FRS, you have to cut an area of this out right here so you can access the top of the strut. So same with this one. Do you see how far forward it goes? This is the farthest out I believe it goes. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the farthest out that it'll go, I believe. Oh, maybe it'll go a little bit farther than that. But that pushes it out basically all the way. So what I have to do is I gotta get a hole saw and just start chopping away at this area right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark the center, which seems to be just right there, and I'm gonna see what size hole saws I have, see if I could do that now. It might have to wait till next time though. Alright, so I was able to find my hole saws, and I have one that will work for it, but there's gonna be a little bit more, I have to like cut a little bit of it out. So like right here, the hole saw won't really want to go over this lip that's on the strut tower. So I'm gonna have to take my cut-off wheel and just cut that little section out. And then I already drilled like the pilot hole for it. So then next time I'm here, I'll just be able to use the hole saw once that lip is cut out, just like that. And it'll cut that area out for me. And then after that, obviously I'll I'll put some paint around the edge where it's cut, just so it doesn't start rusting. But so that's basically where I'm gonna have to leave it for today. I've been here for a couple hours now, so I have to head to New London because I need to go stop at my powder coaters to drop off the extra set of Brembo calipers for the rear. That'll kind of just be like a little hint that I'm also gonna be doing a dual caliper bracket, and I'm gonna be throwing in a hydro at the same time. So that'll be one of the next episodes once I get those 2 calipers back from my powder coater. And obviously once I finish the angle kit, that's when the hydro will start going in. So hopefully that'll be right after. So that's basically, it's gonna be a wrap for now. Next time we should be able to finish the angle kit, Luckily I found the hole saw, so that'll be the next step. I just gotta cut the strut towers and then use the hole saw. But so that'll be next time. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See ya.